How weird does it feel, by the way, to kind of just like be on a Zoom like
It doesn't feel
together?
weird at all.
No,
I
but I
do
mean,
this on the daily, bro.
no. I mean, like reunited, bro. Like
It doesn't feel weird at all, bro. I saw your face and I was like, let's go. I
that's
was like,
true
let's
too. I
go.
do kind of get like a nostalgia feeling from it. But welcome, Peter. We're jumping right into it.
Oh,
Seriously,
thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it.
I gave a little intro before. Bro, the tone of this show is just so much more mature than who I actually am. It's crazy. Like I'm still trying to get like acclimated
Hey,
to
me
that.
too. I don't want anyone to get a misconception on me who
Yeah.
hasn't seen me. I'm way less mature than this.
No, but I gave like a little intro, almost like a prologue,
Hmm.
and kind of explained who you were a little bit, but I do want to dive into that before we start. So welcome. This is Rolling with the Punches, episode 1. My name is Matthew Garber. As Peter rolls with the punches.
That's right.
My first guest on the show is Peter Andrisani. So I was so excited too, by the way, when I started, and I realized that it's going to say Rolling with the Punches, episode 1, Peter Andrisani. I thought that was
Damn,
sick.
bro. It's a wild experience. And before you just continue with that, like it's really cool for me because obviously like you're my boy and like we've been boys for like decades at this point. But not only that, like I've never been like I told you on the phone the other day, besides for like a job interview, I've never been interviewed before. So it's a cool experience. So I appreciate you making me the first guest on your new show.
Bro, it was only right that I had to. I explained. I told them who you were a little bit, but I'm gonna let them. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit more. For those listening. Also, in my monologue, in my prologue, I
Your
kind of
fucking
like.
eulogy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, bro. I'm
I
so off.
died.
I'm so rusty, bro. Like even in the beginning, I was like. I was saying so much I let them know, but I told the audience a little bit about who you were, but I just want to dive into it a little bit more. So basically, I'm gonna ask the basic questions. But before
I'm
that,
not giving you my social security number,
yeah,
so you
that I
might as
could
well just not ask that.
that I could use. Some of you listening may or may not know, but I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people from TTL that are coming here as well. So
Throwback.
um, yeah, throw back to that. Basically, the first time I ever started a podcast or really any business venture or really anything was with this man right here. We created a brand called Take This L Sports, TTL Sports. It was just a sports media and production company. Do you want to add
You
on
got it
anything?
right.
Yeah, I mean, it was just we basically gave. I told them in the intro a little bit, but we you came to me with the idea actually because you were looking for people to do it with. You realized that there was like no one was actually serious about doing it, and I was like, you know what? I actually go to school for this. Let me not waste the thousands of dollars that I spend on tuition. Shout out anyone who's listening from Iona. But I was like, we have a studio that we could use with a camera, a microphone. So let's not do it. I mean, let's not do it. Let's not do it. Why are we not
Yeah.
doing it? Why are we not recording?
Honestly, bro, like as you're just to like chime into what you're saying, when you said that to me, I literally like looked at my like so picture this, like I'm in my office at work, not doing work, by the way. So I'm just sitting there like this.
Shout out everyone at that job, by the way.
So I'm sitting here like this. And when you said, hey, because like at that point we were boys, but like we didn't talk like every day. Like we basically talk, I'd say that we still talk about 3 or 4 times a week, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
So like at that point, every once in a while, like I'd hit him up, I'd see how Matthew was doing. Likewise, like he would hit me up. Oh, let's chill on some, regular shit and stuff when I get back from school. So I hit him. He actually called me about the upcoming playoffs for the NFL. And
It's
I
crazy
told
that you
him,
remember because
I
I mentioned
remember
this too.
everything vividly, bro, because I just got out of the conversation. I'm going to name drop here. Christian Vitale, Ethan Musiel, and Chris Rubio. I pitched the idea to any of them, and they were like, listen, sounds cool. Sounds like it's a lot of work, though. And like, is it really worth our time? And I was super bummed about it. And then you called me and we were talking. And then I was just like, yeah, like I want to start a podcast and stuff. He was like, yo, that's crazy. I'm like, why is that? Why is that? I thought like at first that, you were like, yo, that's like a wild idea. Don't do that. And then you were like, yo, I go to school for this shit. And then you were like, I have a studio and everything. And I literally looked at the phone like this. I was like, is this, I was like, are you serious? First off, terrible friend I am that you were in like your third year of college and I had no idea what you were in college for. So terrible on my part.
Uh-huh.
But I was just like, holy shit, like that's dope. And that's when I knew that it was definitely gonna at least take off as an idea. Like we were gonna at least do it, you know?
Yeah, and looking back at it, it's just like, wow, we really did it. So I also explained that we did it for about a year. I would say until we kind of like went our separate ways. But the
Just in
thing,
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thing about it was like, and which is why I wanted to bring you on as a guest, is because we did so much together. We literally, you said business, and that's the perfect transition because we literally got several athletes, several former athletes, people that are currently in sports, commentators, journalists. I mean, you name it, you could probably go on, and
Mhm.
also really dumb people as well.
And
But like,
that one person will wow, I can't speak. Name dude, what's going on? Will remain will remain nameless. There you
yeah,
go.
I mean, they're gonna go back
God.
and look at TTL. Oh, well, see, there is no more TTL, but we'll get into that also. But they're gonna go back to the channel and look at the interviews that were done. Are they still on the channel?
Yeah, I only I'm not gonna lie to you. I unlisted like
The one.
14 videos, and I guarantee you, you know exactly what 14 videos those are. Think about it for a second.
Okay, okay. But did you keep the interviews though?
I kept everything except for these 14.
Okay, well then they're gonna go back and look at who that one guest was that we said wasn't that good. But other than that, we to get back on topic, we literally ran a business for a year, which was such an interesting experience. Um Having a social media platform, constantly promoting it. Whether it was a sell we're selling an item or not, we were promoting a product every single day. And we get people to talk about our product essentially. So just the idea that like we basically ran a business, media outlet, everything together was awesome to me. And I felt like with this new theme of the show where I'm really talking about like mindset and success and whatever, you are the perfect person because I literally worked with you for a year on that project. And out of anyone, any friend I know, whether or not you were my first business partner, I would say in podcasting or in
Hmm.
business in general, and the way that you work out of every person that I know in my literal life, bro, you're one of the most hardworking people. So like that experience is
Thank you.
awesome. And like that's really why I wanted to welcome you on to Rolling with Bunches because you, I mean, Peter really held the ship together. The great thing about Peter was like he started off too, and I want you to elaborate on this a little bit. You started off kind of like not knowing media at all because who like
Yeah.
dude, this stuff is not easy. Anyone who first of all picking up a mic, camera, when you sit in front of it, it's hard enough. But then the logistics of it, where uploading stuff, editing stuff, finding out what goes into what plug, literally, like there's adapters. Like people think that this stuff
Yeah.
is so easy, and like the little things Peter had no idea about, and literally learned it all by himself, and like that's so impressive to me. Because I went to school for it, and like now I really genuinely believe you've like surpassed me on like from TTL Sports and now onto your new Peter TV Sports Network. Is that what it's PTV? But is that what it's?
I mean, yeah, there's nothing sophisticated about it. It's just literally that's literally what it is.
Yeah, but it's still awesome how like you grew from that because when I first started working with Peter, like I mean, and it was kind of split up in the way where I would do the editing because he obviously wasn't familiar with it, and then he would like he would run our Instagram and but the fact at the end of the whole journey, you ended up like doing everything, which is so impressive to me because your work ethic is on like 1,000. Like you just wanted to keep on picking up more jobs, and why?
uh,
Like I
you
know that's
know,
a
I couldn't let it die, bro. And it, I had to learn it because I don't want this to sound like I don't want anyone to take this out of context. But like once I knew that you were basically like distancing yourself from, the brand and everything like that, and you were on your own thing, you still had school, which I always said, did I not from day one? I said school was the most important thing. And you would fight
yeah.
me on that. And I'd be like, listen, I'll literally punch you in the face right now.
No,
I
you
was
always
like,
did say that.
school was always the most important thing. And then when you were like, I'm busy, like I can't upload this or I can't edit this, I was like, you know what? Like it would be easier for both of us if I just learned, or at least I tried, I experimented. And that's when the video about the Jets came out. That my first video. And there was definitely, if now that I look back at it, there were definitely some things that now I look at it and I'm like, ooh, like I totally missed that. And like that literally took me 2 days to edit, and it's like a 10-minute video. And now I just crank out like 25-minute videos in like 2 hours. But I figured if I was going to eventually survive on my own with this, that I had to adapt and I had to learn like what you were doing. And I don't think that that's true, by the way, that you said that I surpassed you. I definitely didn't, but like you definitely helped me. Like when I sat there, like back in the throwback days when we were in the Iona, computer lab and stuff, and I was sitting there with you, like I did pick up on some things, and you really did help me with that. So I appreciate. I would have just sat there and died. The YouTube channel would have been kaput at this point, you know.
I have so many questions for you in regards to that. Like, I don't even know where to start. Well, like, first, you mentioned so another thing about the show, I remember the first episode we recorded, we both were learning at the same time. Like, I had
Yeah.
never uploaded a YouTube video or anything like that before. And Peter and I were trying to export the video on Premiere. And like,
Oh
we
my
ended up sitting
god.
there for like 4 hours because it was like an hour. If anyone knows anything about video editing, like, exporting a clip is the worst. It's what you need to turn it into like an MP4, an MP3 file. MP3s are a little bit easier because it's obviously
It's
less
just
like,
audio.
yeah,
Yeah.
but videos are like movies essentially. Like that's what the computer picks it up as, whether or not it's a movie or not. So the more edits you make, the longer it's going to take. So we sat there for like 5 hours trying to figure out why like a 2 hour video is taking so long. And I remember Peter and I literally just sitting in there like so determined to get the video out there.
I specifically remember what happened because excuse me, I went out early with you. I think you were there at the time. So I got there. I think we had like a 10:30 studio sesh or something like that. So I got there early. I had to leave for work at like 2:45. So we were done recording by like 12. So I was like, "Oh, this is great. Like I could sit with him. We could I could really learn how to edit. He could show me what he's learned and we'll be uploaded ready to go." And then I left, I was like, oh shit. I was like it's not even close. It wasn't even like done exporting and then you had to upload it and everything like that. So I was like, god damn, like I have to leave. And I felt terrible leaving. And then this man FaceTimed me at like 6:30 at night
Seven, still there. I can't believe you remember that time. I cannot believe
because
you
you were the
remember that.
only one that was there. I
Yeah.
remember like literally the lights around you. I was like, why is it so dark? And you were like, yeah, they shut the lights off around me. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, no way they did. And I
Yeah.
felt terrible. And then you were like, all right, it's done. And it was like 7:30 at night. And I remember being super excited. Now I'm going down a rabbit hole. So after I'm done with this like statement, we'll get back to what it was.
Uh-huh,
But
uh-huh.
I remember that being honestly like this might sound so corny, but I don't even care. That was one of the greatest nights of my life. And I'll tell you why, because my mindset, I kind of struggled with like self-confidence and stuff for a long time in my life. So, for me to get behind that camera, it was big because I always didn't like the way I looked behind, like the camera. I didn't like the way I sounded on a microphone or in like a video if someone took a video of me on their phone or something. So like that was a really big accomplishment. And I remember seeing the numbers that it did right away. And I was like, damn, like people really like it and stuff. So I remember that being a great night. It was awesome. It was pouring rain. I remember exactly because I get into the parking lot at my job. I'm the last car to leave. And I remember getting in and I see a note on my window. And I'm like, oh shit, what is this? I get out. The right side of the front of my car destroyed. Someone hit me in the parking lot and destroyed the front of my car. And I just remember I was like, huh. I was like, okay. I was like, so I'll take the good with the bad. I was like, but the guy was super nice. He left his name, his contact. He paid for the whole thing. Like he was super nice about it. Could have just left and I would have never found him. But like, I just remember that specifically because I remember being so high. And then I was like, am I going to be able to drive home? I was like, am I just going to have to stay here all night? But I remember that day perfectly. It was one of the greatest accomplishments of my early life at that time.
Yeah, and like, oh man, every time you talk, I have so many more questions for you. And this is, I mean, if you guys are just tuning in now, this is gonna be a long episode. I could already tell
I don't even care, bro.
because you mentioned like a lot of things, like about you and your self confidence, and like that, especially that's I guess the first thing we can go into with it. Because getting on camera with a mic is not easy. Especially when you're dealing with like a confidence thing, like that is the hardest thing. I remember like the first time I stepped in front of a mic, I was doing like solo shots and like just recording myself for like a class, and I had uploaded to YouTube. And it was like embarrassing almost. Like I didn't even really want to like upload it. I was so like lackluster and poor. So
Mhm.
that was another thing I noticed about you too. Like I mean, first of all, I think it's awesome that you remember that day just as well as I do, because it was such shitty weather. And then I remember driving home so excited, like blasting music in the old car on that piece of shit Saturn that I used to have. And I was just like genuinely excited. I was like, bro, I felt like looking back, I didn't realize in that moment. Now that I'm looking back at it, I was like so excited that we genuinely accomplished like something, like whether it was just uploading a video and it was blowing up for no reason. It got like
Yeah,
100
it
views
really
in like
was.
10
It really,
minutes. And
yeah,
that's
it
a
really
lot of
was.
views at the time.
That's why I was like, I literally looked at myself. I was like, is this what fame is like? I was like, is
Yeah.
I was like, really? It was, dude. It wasn't even, and mind you, because it was a new YouTube channel, like the bots just attacked it. So as soon as we uploaded a video, it had like 500 views in the first like 2 hours, and I was like, yeah, we're famous. So I
And
was
then
like,
it
that's
just
it.
stayed there,
And then
right?
it just stayed there, and then it decreased, and then I was like, I remember asking you, I was like, why did the views decrease? Do people? I literally had no idea how YouTube worked. I was like, do people unlike it and then the views go away? And you were like, no, you idiot. You're like, it's just bots.
Yeah, no, it's so, bro, it's so crazy how like, oh man, this is so, it's so reminiscent. I remember we had to screen record the thing and then upload it. It was just such a journey, bro. And then
I
you
did
didn't even
such a
know how to
terrible job.
you didn't
Yeah.
even know how to screen record back then. You'd keep the thing, and bro, it's just awesome to see where you've like come from, to be honest with you, to now running your own channel, which is currently your channel, which is currently at 607 subscribers. Let's clap it up for that. I'm gonna snap. Because bro, that's awesome. Like you went from that to like where you're at now, and like even looking back, like, and this is something that you should really like think about, bro, because like even me looking back and being accomplished that I uploaded a first video, that channel that you were a part of, that it's now yours, one, and two, like you made it. You went from not being able to screen record a video to now editing videos every day. Like shout out the video you just posted. It's on the Conor Poirier fight that's coming up tomorrow from when we're recording this. Like you just uploaded a sick thumbnail you showed me on my way home. So like, bro, I still am ass with thumbnails. Like, so from going from being able to not screen record to now running a stable channel who's constantly pumping on content by yourself, bro, pat yourself on the back for that, like.
I'll give myself a little
But
chest
like
hit there.
seriously, it is great. And that's what I want to segue into. So you mentioned the self-confidence thing on like the first episode that we did in the studio. Um how are you so good on camera? I mean, if anyone goes back to those old videos, you could see you're very comfortable, but that never phased you. I mean, and for anyone listening, like, how did you overcome that?
uh it was essentially a facade at first. If you look into my eyes, I was mortified. I was just like, I thought to myself, I was like, dude, like I know exactly where the camera is. I was like, do I look at it? Do I look at Matthew? Like, what do I do? There was so many things going through my head. And then I just thought to myself, I was like, dude, like you know what you're talking about. And when I told myself that, I was like, if you know what you're talking about, your self-confidence just shoots right up. I said, I forget what was, oh, it was about the predictions for the wild card weekend or something like that, the first video, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
it
something
was,
like
yes,
that.
it was when the Bills played the Texans.
Yes, yes. So I remember having like a full list of notes. I was like, you wrote the whole thing down. You know what you wrote down. Like it's just gonna be a conversation. I was like, just like a phone conversation. And then we just did it. And what was funny? What kept running through my mind was The Office. And the reason why I say that is because there's no audience. It was just a camera, right? And then when they say something funny or they do something funny, they just go like this and shoot like a funny face at the camera.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that. It's like the
It's like,
style of
yeah. And I remember doing that a couple times, and I remember you like zooming in on it and stuff like that. And like you made it funny to the point where like if I did it, like it was funny. And I looked at myself like when I would watch the videos back, and I'm like, you know what? I don't look bad on camera. I was like, I sound good. The audio quality is good. My voice isn't as bad as I thought. So I was like, we could do this. So I was like 100%. And then when you kept telling me, you kept reassuring me, which I thank you, by the way. You were like, nah, you were good. Like you did a good job, almost like a natural. And I was like, definitely not. And then, you kept reassuring me that. So it made me feel that much better.
Well, you like, I mean, I could see that perspective where you thought like I'm just your boy, like I'm just trying to gas you up, but like I've always said this to you, even from the first episode we recorded together. Like you were just good on camera. Like there was no adjustment. And that because I had done it before in school and whatnot. That episode that we did together was the first time you were like, sure, you've recorded videos at the park or whatever, like, or like baseball videos, but like that was like the first video you recorded willingly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you were always a natural from it, in my opinion. And I think like that's a really good point in the self confidence thing. Like you kind of just have to get over that hump and like say like who cares at the end of the day? Like you sound good. Like people are always gonna have something to say at the end of the day.
Of
That's kind of
course.
how I got over it. I was just like, who gives a fuck? Honestly, I was kind of just like, who cares? Because like, go ahead. You want to go?
I was just gonna say that that was one of the other things for me too that was so mortifying was I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, yo, like if you think about like if we ever step back, not to get like intergalactic or some shit like that, but if you like step back and just look at and think of the grand scheme of things, you upload a YouTube video, literally some little kid sitting on the beach in Taiwan could look at it, could watch it
Yeah.
2 seconds after you uploaded it. You know what I'm saying? So that itself being literally in front of a world, like obviously we're not in front of a global audience, but potentially being in front of a global audience where anyone could just say anything hurtful just for the shit of it. That's what was big for me too. I was like, yo, what if people are just like, fuck this guy, like, I don't want to say like kill yourself or anything like that because
Yeah,
like
but you
that's
know
a
how
serious
people are.
thing. But
People are
you know
mean.
how
Yeah.
people are. People are just mean for the sake of being mean. We live in a world where people love to hate. So that's what was another thing too. And then once I saw the comments on the first episode, the positive feedback and everything, that was another thing where I was like, all right, like people actually want to see this, and like people have good things to say. And like you said, oh, someone's always gonna have something to say. I can't tell you how many countless comments
Even now,
on
sometimes.
videos now, and it's just really for the shit of it. Like I said before, like some people have no idea what they're talking about. They just want to be mean, just to be an internet troll.
Do you kind of just like, so you kind of just ignore that and say like, I know my worth. I'm gonna just keep pumping out content.
uh, Essentially, it's not really about me, it's about the content. And some of the I always the content I make is a discussion based content. Like it's an opinion based. Like I want people to give me their feedback. I want them to disagree with me, essentially, but and give me good reason, you know what I'm saying, to disagree with me. And 95% of the comments when people disagree with me, it's very, it's an adult conversation. I see where you're coming from, you see where I'm coming from. And then of course you get those occasional people that are like, oh, you're an idiot and stuff like that. But that I just brush that off. It doesn't even bother me because if everyone was saying that, then I'd be like, all right, well, I did something wrong. But if it's one person out of 50, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because your content is kind of like a discussion board almost. So like you kind of encourage that negative
Yeah.
feedback almost. That is actually a really dope point to make from your content and like you making videos in general. Like that was one thing that we also like wanted. Like we were like anyone that's hating on us, like please hate on us because like it's something, you
Please
know?
let us know, please.
Yeah, like we just wanted some feedback. But um before I continue in talking about mindset and all that, I kind of wanted to segue a little bit. And talk about like where you're from, how because you have a sports podcast now, PTV. So the old podcast that we originally had, which was TTL Sports, has now been transformed and rebranded into um, PTV. Does it stand for anything, or it's just
No, just
Peter TV?
literally Peter TV and then Sports Network. I added the network on at the last second because I put the name into YouTube and it just looked too short. So I was like, all right, let me like put something there. And then network just kind of stuck. And I was like, that looks official. Like I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, we started from TTL Sports. You rebranded the whole thing. You kept the channel. You turned it into that, which is really awesome, and that's also what I want to get into. But like, since we did TTL, and obviously now you're continuing with the whole sports team, what got you so into sports? Like, what bring it back to even like when we were kids playing on the block, like wiffle ball and stuff. Like, talk to me about that.
People are gonna think because I could recall such like distinct memories, people are literally gonna think I'm either like an intergalactic traveler or I just have like a photographic memory. My first real memory that I remember was I was in my backyard. My dad would come home from work between like, 3, 4 o'clock, whatever. He'd take a nap on the couch and we'd go in the backyard every day and we'd play wiffle ball. And I remember like the first time I ever remember hitting it, I hit it. You've seen my backyard before. It's not big. It's like maybe 25 feet long, like
Yeah.
15 feet wide. It's not big. I remember I was standing in the back and I hit the ball onto the roof of my house. Now for like a 4-year-old kid, that's pretty far, like, and I just remember at that moment, I was like, I'm good at this. Like, not to be like, not, but like 4-year-old me was
You were
like,
athletic, yeah,
this
and
is
I
easy.
I
I was
could
like,
admit that
okay.
too, yeah.
And then, I really just my dad and I grew up like just in a sports environment. And even my mother said to me, like, for as long as I can remember, she was like, "You're a Yankee baby," because literally like 11 days after you were born, the Yankees won the World Series in 1996.
Mhm.
She was like, "You were born into a winner." Well, it's a different story now, but
Yeah.
but but and I just baseball was always first and foremost. I didn't really fall in love with any other sport up until about, I'd say, 2006. I went to my first Jet game, and you'll be like, of course. So the first Jet game I ever went to was against the San Diego Chargers at the time, and the Jets got blown out 37-0, and I
Yeah,
fell in love with football. I was like, I fell in love with the Jets. I was like, I love these losers so much that I just love it. And that's really what it was. Like I just grew up around it so much that that's all I really knew. You know what I mean? Like my parents never pushed, like, I don't want to say pushed academics, but like they let me have my space. Like if I wasn't good academically, they weren't going to be like, you must be good academically. They saw that I was athletic. They pushed me for that. Go do as many sports as you can. Go play high school baseball, try out in college, things like that. So that's all I ever really knew. And then I kind of just took it from there. I became a nut for the statistics and I don't want to say analytics, but stuff like that, and just historical figures and historical stats just really like stand out to me, and that's why you always say that I'm like a walking encyclopedia, because I just love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like that was the one thing that I had always told you, like when we started the show going into it, I knew off like the start of it that Peter was 110% going to be smarter than me when it comes to sports. And I was never afraid to admit that he was much more knowledgeable because I my relationship with sports is different. Like I went back and forth. There's times when like I'm really invested and I really know everything, and then there's times where I like take a break from it. But like you're all gas, no brakes. Shout out Robert Sala. Like you, you're always like invested into it, like and you've always had that knowledge for it. But when you like, you've always been playing too. You're super athletic. You've always been. Even now, when we like, I know when you play with like anything, ball, football, baseball, with like friends or in your leagues or whatever, you're still good. But like when you realize like because that point comes with everyone where they realize they're not going to play in the MLB or like professionally. Did you think like today you'd still be involved in sports in the way that you are, like making content and stuff? And like, does that also make you like happy to know that like you're still involved in that and you're trying to make a career in it, even though it's not playing it?
You know, when I finally realized that, like, competitively, or like, academically and competitively, that it was over for me, was my first year in college, when I wanted to get a job on the side of playing fall ball in college, and doing my classes and everything. And it itself was a job. I was at the baseball field 6 7 days a week. There was no time for myself. There was no time for my friends. There was no time to make money. And I thought to myself, I was like, if I'm not making the major leagues, what am I going to start working when I'm 22, 23 years old, and I'm going to have not a pot to piss in, just to chase a dream. And I mean, like, everyone says chase your dreams, but your dreams have to be realistic. You have to adapt and change your dreams, because a kid from New York that's playing JUCO baseball is not going to make the major leagues. And I was okay with it. I literally said to my coach, I was like, I can't do this right now. I want to start working, and it never died. Like, honestly, I still think I can make the major leagues. Why not?
That's how
Look at Evan
competitive you
Gaddis.
are.
Evan
That
Gaddis was a janitor, until he was like 26, and then he won the World Series with the Astros. You know what I mean? But really, like, it's funny because I stepped away from sports playing, and I never totally stepped away from it watching. And then I hit kind of like a dark period in like my life, where I wasn't going to school anymore and I was just working. and I was working. I was working 50, 60 hours a week. And I was like, there has to be something more to this, and not to sound like sappy or anything, but it was because I was getting away from what I really loved. And that not necessarily playing sports, but even just watching them. Like I was coming home and sleeping and it was just repeating the cycle the next day,
Mhm.
and I was like, there's something missing. And then once I found that again, I kind of opened up a little bit more and I kind of, I went back to school and I found my way again. Like I was like, okay, that was an 18-month detour that I was not prepared for. But, life is filled with unprepared stops. That's what it is. So I made my peace with it. I said, it was a vacation, a 60-hour work week vacation, essentially, in my life. And once I got back to sports, that's when I was like, I can never let this go away again. Like I have to do something. And notice around there, well, when we started, I was 20. How old am I? Well, we started when I was 22. Okay. No, I'm sorry, 23. I can't do math. So we started when I was 23, and for that like 2-year period, I'd say there was something in me that I was like, I gotta do something. I could talk about this, but like, how can I talk about this? And I didn't find it until we had that fateful conversation.
See, like, there's so many core themes. I sound like a professor, but like, there's so many core themes that you just mentioned in that and what you just like talked about, and like, that's one of the main reasons. See, it's like this is why I knew you're going to be the perfect guest to have on because that's one of the main reasons that I started the show was to talk about like going after doing what you love and like doing stuff that makes you happy because like we live in a world where and I'm living through it now. Shout out anyone at my job who's listening. I really don't give a fuck. But like we're living in a time where we're so programmed to kind of like go through that. You got to work, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I think it's so amazing that we have like social media now where we could share like stuff because like I listen to people like McGregor, like Conor McGregor, like Dana White, or like I'm just naming MMA people, but like
Right.
anyone in general who's literally went after what they've loved to do and like the thing is you're supposed to wake up in the morning and you're supposed to be excited about what you do and like you talked about a period in time where you're going home, you're just sleeping because you're so tired from work, you just quit something that you love doing and you're in a dark spot, and it wasn't until you found sports again when you really were like, holy shit, like I love this. Like I want to do something with it. And I feel like we need to put more emphasis on that. Like whatever you love in life, you need to go after and do because like you shouldn't wake up and be like, I gotta work this 9 to 5 to support my family. Obviously you need to make money to like that's we go to college to make money at the end of
Right.
the day and take care
Hmm.
of our families. But I feel like if people put more love and shout out another MMA guy, but like these guys have great philosophies. Like Joe Rogan said, like put your
Joey
all.
Rogues.
And I love the man. Put your all into a passion project, something that you really love, and keep like seeding it and flowering it and watering it and see where it goes because who knows, like it could turn into something. And like I think it's so awesome how you went through like a dark time and you're at your happiest when you're working on something that you naturally love doing.
Well said, Matthew. You're absolutely correct.
But it's so awesome to hear that like that getting starting a podcast or like even watching sports again is like what made you feel genuinely happier, you
Yeah.
know? So let's talk about now your show because we keep getting off topic. PTV. We just talked about how much you love sports, so you're going to continue with the sports content, obviously. But
Hmm.
what for people listening, you just dropped the first episode. Explain what's going on.
Actually,
Well, it's season three.
well, it's season 3, and from yesterday to today, now we're up to episode 3 now. Because I just went full beast mode today, and I was just sitting in this chair basically all day. There's going to be an ass imprint when I get up eventually from this chair, but the first episode, essentially what I was talking about was basically thanking you and thanking everyone that supported me through that. And it was time to change it. It literally, the name of the first episode was A New Chapter, and I was thrilled. And what really made me feel like, I feel like in when you close a chapter in any part of your life, you need closure. And the one thing that really gave me closure was when we were talking about it. And what you feel and what you say are two different things. That's just anyone, not just you.
Yeah.
But when you literally were like, I'm genuinely happy for you, your logo looks great, like your plan in place is awesome, like I can't wait to see what you do. That was like that last part that I really needed, where I was like, now I'm real pumped about this, because like I never wanted to leave on, us together on bad terms. So once you said that, and I was like, no, he's coming from a genuine disposition. Like, that's what gave me that full send, and that's why I mentioned in the episode, there was never any love lost between us. And if anything, our relationship is better now than it was when we were working together. And essentially, I really just talked about that. I was thanking people. I was also talking about my how my perspective has changed, not only in life but in social media and a YouTube kind of way, because I shouted out, and I'll say it again. There's two guys that I watch all the time. I hung out with one a couple times, Philion and this guy Original 151. They have a podcast together, and Original 151 is this guy. His name is Vinny, and he does like Pokemon content. Like, I don't even like Pokemon, but I always find myself watching his videos because it's just his personality just leaks through like into his videos. And it's really admirable to see someone literally streaming every single day, something that's not easy to do. Like, he streams every day, he puts up content every single day. He really makes a job out of it because that's what he loves to do. And you have to admire someone that literally manifests their own dreams into a career. So, like, I've seen, like, he's been able to buy a house. He just bought a Tesla. Like, he's legitimate. People laugh at YouTubers, but these people work their asses off and legitimately make careers out of it. And there's nothing more admirable from a social aspect, in my opinion, than that. And same thing with Philion too. I just mentioned them together because they both have the podcast that I actually really like listening to on Sundays, the Sunday Sauce. But that's essentially what I was really talking about. And I was just talking about my plan ahead, how I'm just going to try and drive forward. Those nights where like I don't want to put content out. I come home from work, but I really think I should talk about something. Then I'm going to start doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to push out 2, maybe 3 episodes a week on the podcast, and 1 to 2 videos, excuse me, on YouTube. Like, I really just want to get it out there because the first thing that anyone tells you is content is king. And I've gotten a lot of comments recently that people were really digging my stuff. So, if I keep pushing it out there, and it's going to get further and further out there, and more people will see it.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. And I think like one thing that like you mentioned that's really what I really wanted to talk about too is the fact that like I feel like a lot of people have like a hater mentality and like they love to hate on whatever. Like say Philly for example, or what's his name? What is it? Project One
Original
Original
151.
151.
Yeah.
I'm not even familiar. I know Philly makes good videos as well, I agree. But people will hate on those two, for example, because like they said they had a bad take or like they look ugly or like they sound cringy or whatever. But the reality of the situation is, it's until you do it and you see how hard it is that what someone's
Absolutely.
doing in general, until you realize like, okay, I'm not going to hate on this. Like people don't understand. Like you watch, I mentioned actually, it's so funny, bro, because we have such. That's like, again why you're the perfect guest for this. We have such similar mindsets. I in the opening like prologue to it, I talked kind of about like the same thing as you, and I said I hate talking about them, but like you look at people like Logan and Jake Paul, and like, I get how you could hate Jake Paul. I mean, who couldn't hate Jake Paul? It's kind of like
Yeah.
hard not to hate Jake Paul or Logan. I mean, more so Jake, but how could you not respect what they've done? Like at the end of the day, like there's so many parts about both of their lives and stuff that they've done that's like no one else would be able to do at the end of the day. And like
Absolutely.
you now know what you're saying, like what it takes to be a content creator. And I would compare you because you make it, honestly, it's very similar the way that you and Philium will do style of content where like it's just fitness and sports. It's just different topics, but like
Yeah.
your style of video is similar. So you understand what it's like to get to where he's at, like, and I feel like more people need to develop that, like put yourself into their shoes before you shit on them.
Oh, 100%. And I'll be the first one to be honest and tell you my mindset. 3 years ago, when I first met him, my girlfriend and I were going to her semi-formal for her sorority, and her best friend brought him as a date. And she goes, he's some kind of YouTuber or whatever. And like, I looked him up, and I was like, oh, this dude looks like a dick. Like, his content doesn't even look good. I was like, I don't even know what this guy like what does he make, like. And I don't want to say it was jealousy, but it could have been a hint of jealousy in there, because like, this man is just basically making money and getting out there based off his personality and his knowledge on a subject. So, it could have been that. But also I was like, oh, he has long hair, looks greasy. Like, I was such a dick. And then I met him, and we literally we finished half a bottle of Ciroc just sitting there talking. And I was like, this dude is one of the most pleasant people I've ever met in my life. I was like, shame on me for having that mindset. You know, don't judge a book by its cover. Its cover is such an overused term, but really that's what it was. I was like, you know what? I thought this guy was going to be a dick, and he turned out to be one of the most pleasant people ever. And he's great at what he does. So I have nothing but respect and admiration for him.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about most YouTubers and podcasters. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Call Her Daddy podcast. If you want me to be really honest with you, I don't sit here and listen to how
Yes, you do.
Alexandria
Yeah, you do.
Cooper.
Don't lie. Yeah, you do.
I'm not gonna tell you I sit here and listen to Alex Cooper talk about her, her sex life and whatnot. And it's not my cup of tea personally. but what I will say is that she just signed a $60 million deal on Spotify recently, and
Crazy.
from doing what she thinks is funny and making her happy. And at the end of the day, I can only sit here and respect it because she's all our
Crazy.
working lady, and that's really what it's all about. Like, I can't say a single bad thing just because I don't agree with her content. So, um, yeah, that's awesome. It's a great point that you made. And with PTV, I know it's kind of a broad question, but like, you're at 607 subs. You just said you made 2 episodes in 1 week. Like, we all see the
Today,
grind,
actually.
or well, 3 episodes in 1 week.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And new logo rebrand. What is your goal though? Like, is this something that eventually like you want to make into a career? Is this something that like, like, is this something
Yeah.
that you see? I know it's a passion project, and that's
Hmm.
really what it comes down to. But like, what is your end game? What is your goal?
I mean, the absolute dream, as I said, like you have to adapt your dreams to what's going on in your life at the time. That's something that I believe in. That would be a dream. If I could come to work one day, or like, I should rephrase that. If I can get out of bed one day and walk 10 steps to my office in my house and make money for my to provide for my family, that's the dream. You know what I'm saying? Talking about something I love like this, or any capacity in sports really. But right now, that my end game is really just to push as much content out there and to just make as many social connections as possible, and just to the way it's so weird and maybe arbitrary, people might think, but the way I look at content sometimes is I have no idea what my voice and what my face does for someone that could be down a dark hole. If someone really, I got a comment the other day and the guy was like, I really, really love your content. Like, thank you. Like, why is this man thanking me? And then I thought to myself, I was like, who knows? I was like, this guy could having a really shitty time in his life, and just seeing my dumbass face on his screen could make him feel better. So really, I just want to make as much content as possible because you never know the kind of reach that your content has. And we've said it from the beginning, it only takes one to blow up. And honestly, at this point, I'm just making it because this is what I love to do. There's really no clear goal. If it blows up, it blows up. I'm not even looking for it at that point. Like, yeah, do I want to get to 1,000 subs and maybe get monetized or something? Like, that would be cool, like making a little pocket change on the side. It's not a goal though. If it happens, it happens. Because if you're looking the way that I feel, if you're dreaming for money, you're just going to be in a nightmare your entire life.
Yeah, I think first of all, you just left us with a ton of stuff to talk about. I think you made awesome points. So, I got first of all, I got to get out that mindset too. Like, the money is a big motivator for me, but at the same time, it's the thing. It's more so for me the things that, and I bet you a bunch of people could relate to this. It's the thing that come with money. It's that freedom. It's being able to help people around you. But you're
Yes.
right. If you focus mainly on that, you get lost, and then you start getting darker and darker, and you sink because you're not at a place that you think you should be at. Then you start getting depressed. But what I want to touch on before we get into like that aspect of it is you said something really awesome about how like someone watching your videos may be down or whatever. Does that inspire you that you're making videos knowing that someone's watching it, and like that could does that inspire you to make videos? Like, someone who's watching it could be like depressed or upset, and your video cheers them up.
Oh, 100%. Like, if I could make a video for, say, hypothetically, if it's that one person and they're going through a tough time, we have no way of knowing, there's really no way of connecting with those kind of comments and stuff. But if that person physically reached out to me and was like, your videos make me feel better, I would love to just personally make videos for that person. Like, that makes me, I think I get this mindset from my dad, but seeing the way that my dad has been a fantastic human being like his entire life, and he just thinks nothing of himself and everyone around him, just really rubs off on me. Like I see how happy he is never thinking of himself, and I'm like, I have to be like that too. So if that ever came about, where someone was like, your videos just make my day, well, here you go, buddy. Here's a few links to some videos that I made just for you.
That's so awesome. You private them on YouTube and everything. But that is really awesome, bro. And like, yeah, I mean, I think your mindset's 100% right where you're just doing what you love. And if the money comes, the money comes. But if not, you'll just do it because, it makes you happy. And I
Yeah.
think that's an awesome, I mean, I got to sharpen my sense up with it, with that in life in general. But I think you look at it the right way. You really do. And like, it is really awesome to hear that like the videos that you're making, like could be uplifting people, and like that keeps you going. Like, I think that's so awesome to hear. Um, so you're gonna. So what is your? Because I mean, from with TTL Sports, like it was all over the place. Like with sometimes it'd be 3 uploads, 5 uploads. What is your plan as of right now? How often are you gonna upload? How what's your rollout looking like for this new adventure?
Essentially, the rollout is looking like anywhere between, I would say, just for like safe numbers, I would say probably about 2 podcast episodes a week, maybe more. And definitely weekly uploads on YouTube, one, maybe 2 times. Because there were times it's very erratic. Like you're right. Like the updating schedule is just sometimes we'll go a week without uploading. One time I uploaded 4 videos in 3 days. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just crazy how it comes. But that's in the world of sports. Like when news, it firsthand. When news comes at you fast and you got to get something out, you have to talk about it. You can't miss the boat. That's really what it is. There's no true schedule, but I would say anywhere between 2+ podcast episodes a week and 1 to 2 YouTube videos a week would be my layout.
It's awesome. I can't wait to check it out. Like, I mean, anyone who's also listening to this, like, Peter brings great insight. I'm not just saying that to promote what you got going on, but like, that was literally the only person that I'd ever do a sports podcast with because you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, let's cut the bullshit.
Thank you.
I mean, it's true though. Like people like, and I'm not throwing subs. We're not doing this here. And anyone who's listening, don't think it's targeted at you because we might have some friends that are doing it. But a lot of people that I know personally and people that I hear randomly that are just promoting their stuff on Twitter, Instagram, they suck. Like honestly, they don't know what they're talking about. Like you actually study this for fun. This is a hobby to you. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So like if anyone wants real good, and Peter's so humble, he's gonna be like, thank you. He's not gonna say shit, but it's really
I was literally just gonna say thank you when you were done talking.
it's really the truth. Like, I mean, you want good insight and like actual facts, and like, I mean, listen, go to listen to his stuff and you'll know what I'm talking about. He actually brings insane, incredible knowledge and insight. Which leads me to my next question. Side topic. I didn't want to make this about sports, but this is going to be probably uploaded after. But let's see if you're right, buddy. The Conor McGregor fight is tomorrow from when we're recording this, so it would have already happened by now. I'm gonna put you on the spotlight. So for anyone that's listening, you guys will determine if you go to PTV or not.
I literally shit you not right now, because people who see the video version of this, they're gonna see me looking in like the left-hand corner and they're gonna be like, what the fuck is that guy looking at? I literally have like predictions and like people talking about it on my TV behind me as I speak.
I see.
But
you got like one of those.
I don't listen to them. I literally have it on mute and I just see they're just showing Gilbert Burns right now, so I'm not even gonna watch. But I'll give you this, and the way that I said it in my video that I just uploaded a few hours ago was, if the fight goes the distance, to me, 100%, it's Poirier's fight. If there's any sort of stoppage at any point, McGregor's gonna knock his ass out. Like if there is like a TKO or a KO,
yes,
it's McGregor, because he's going. The way I said it was, this fight could either go, neither of them want to get knocked out or TKO'd, and they're just kind of touchy feely, even though they both know each other so well, or they're just gonna go fucking bombs flying. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of hope it goes that way, because I love watching Conor strike, dude. Like I literally love watching that. You know what's funny? Everyone like literally he runs up to people with it cocked, like, and ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, and they just can't stop it. Like, I don't understand. And I just love watching him fight. But I do feel like overall that Poirier is the better fighter, but McGregor is the better striker. I feel like even we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
You say that maybe not at this point in his career that he's the better striker. I still think he is, because I feel like that's like the weakest part of Dustin's game.
Yeah.
But the way that I see it is there's not going to be, forget the leg kicks. You know, Connor's going to have that. Connor's going to have that in his game plan this time. But I do feel like if it goes the distance, it's going to be Poirier. But if it's a stoppage, it's going to be McGregor.
So I think it's actually a really good take. Honestly, like if it goes a distance, Poirier. If it's any knockout, it's gonna be Connor. Um, I don't know. I agree with you. And like watching I guess Connor for all those years and everything. I would literally agree with everything.
Literally just like he's literally just like, yo, I'm fucking begging ya. Just like
you gotta. I love that dude. I mean, anyone who knows me personally, like, dude's literally my like spirit animal. So like, if he loses,
seriously.
I'm gonna be so depressed.
This man posts more about Conor McGregor on his
Than me.
Instagram story than anything in history.
Literally, bro, I love the man. I just love like that would be a dream interview too, because like I would love to talk
Forget it.
about his.
I'd
mindset.
retire if I ever got to, like, it can't get better than that, honestly.
Yeah, literally. But great insight. If you had money though, and if I gave you my social security and my life savings and everything, who's winning the fight tomorrow?
Oh, if I was a betting man, I would take McGregor plus 108
Okay.
as a decision plus 700.
Okay. So
even though that completely contrasts what I just said, you on that little parlay there.
No, you're betting smart. Like you're saying the smart bet is to bet McGregor is an underdog.
Well, this has been the first time since McGregor's actually been a big time fighter that he's an underdog, and it's a slight underdog, obviously. But if they give you money on a line with McGregor, you have to take it. Like, there's literally no way you can't take it. And Poirier's not that great of a bet either, because it's minus 130. So it's like, you might as well just go with McGregor on that. And then,
especially if you bet him last fight at like whatever it was.
I looked at all the lines before, and I think it was McGregor submission in the third round or something like that was plus like 6,600 or some shit like that. Like, it was an absolute wild number.
If that happens
that's what I'm saying. Someone is gonna bet $100 on it and just walk away with like fucking $6 trillion or whatever. But
yeah, and we're the ones who literally spoke about the bet, and they're gonna be stupid that we didn't bet it. So
no, but that would be my bet, even though it completely goes against what I said. I would take McGregor at plus 108 with the decision at plus 700.
Okay. All right, so we'll see Saturday night. Those MMA people listening, and even if you don't watch MMA, you're gonna watch this fight because Connor's like kind of like that Mike. I mean, I wasn't alive for Tyson, but he's kind of like that Mike Tyson, where it's like everyone's got to, or like Ali. Like, people are gonna kill me if you're really into sports, but like, it's like you got to watch what you know. What I'm saying, he has that element of like, we need to watch this. So
yeah, 100%.
It's gonna be dope. We had to definitely talk about that, but let's get a. I'm out of your realm now. You're dragging me back into DTL sports, and I'm not having it.
That was really actually you found out my secret plan. I was going to come on to just slowly lure you back, but it's not working. You got out of it already.
Yeah. No, but Peter is going to be like a recurring guest on this show 99% of the time, because I explained, if we're not getting guests, like you're like the Joey Diaz to the Joe Rogan. It's just like, I'm going to have you every week,
bro.
That dude's a legend, by the way.
I've
been listening to like straight Joey Diaz recently.
Yeah, I think it was like his second time on or something. They literally spent like the first 40 minutes just talking about fucking used cars. And Joey Diaz was like, see, when I was younger, he was like, I used to sell cars in Colorado. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what's this guy talking about? And he was like, and the guy. I'm like, what guy? Like, Joey Diaz literally talks like my uncle. Like, my uncle talks
Joey, baby,
with no context. With no context whatsoever. Like, you have to literally listen to every syllable he says, or you'll just be lost. Like,
yeah, bro. Like, the thing about Joey Diaz is like, bro, like you said, he'll talk about Colorado. Like, this dude's lived such a crazy life in a span of like that 20-year period. He's been in like 90 states. There's only 50 of them.
He was talking like the last point I want to make, because I really like doing the Joey Diaz impersonation, and this will be funny. He was talking about something that happened when he was younger, when he was a kid. There was this one woman that was like his friend's mother or something, and she'd walk around the neighborhood with this dog, and he like wanted to confess his love for her.
Oh, I
And
remember this one. I remember this one.
and he was like, juicy tits. It was like hell of an ass. And I just, I just remember listening to
Put
that,
so much
sitting at
emphasis on that, bro.
juicy tits.
Yeah.
And I just remember like he's like slobbering all over the microphone. It was one of the greatest like podcast experience I've ever seen. I was hysterically laughing.
Also a legend, bro. Would be an
Oh
honor
yeah,
to have Uncle
100%.
Joey on, bro. I love
100%.
listening to his stuff, but oh man, we gotta. But yeah, bro, I love both those. But I'm gonna definitely have to have you on like just like that all the time. But
I'll be the Alex Jones, the controversial
oh
guest
no,
that no one
yeah,
wants on, but he just comes on anyway.
Oh man, but all right, now we're gonna do a complete 180 because it's like we're talking about juicy tits and we got to do a complete 180.
Joey Diaz and juicy tits.
But all right, so mindset. This is what I really wanted to dive in with you because like you built the brand up to like what it's been. I mean, forget the numbers. The numbers don't lie, but personally working with you, and I've said it a million times already on this episode, but like the main reason why I wanted to really get you on is not like it's so nostalgic. I mean, I love this, bro. We haven't done a podcast in so long, but like, but B, like your mindset is over everything. And like, I don't know anyone that's as hardworking as you. Like, literally, I remember when, for example, like you would get mad at me because like I wouldn't be so attentive on the phone, and like it was such a legit reason to get mad at me because like why am I not putting in 100% of the work that like that you're at 100%? I'm at like 80%. Do you hear this lightning outside, by the way?
Yeah, dude,
Sidetrack.
it is absolutely
This is how good the show is.
outside. I heard the thunder before and almost shit my pants when you were talking. I was
Yeah.
like, "The fuck?"
No, but it's like a thunderstorm outside. But your mindset though, like I remember it was like you're always at 100%, and I was always, I wasn't given 100, and it was just like sometimes I'd sit back and think like, how does this dude? Now, as I got older, I'm like, how do you keep that? And so like, I guess the question to ask you is really like, where do you get that hard working like mindset from? Because like even when I really want something, I still feel like I don't put my all into it, and that's something that I'm trying to learn. But like you're such a hardworking person, so like where does that come from, and like why are you like that? I know it's such a
Yeah,
like
no,
why.
I get you.
Yeah,
It comes in two folds, and the two folds are absolutely like you're gonna be like, what? So the first fold is 100% my father, my parents in general, but more specifically my father because the man worked. He's been working since he's 9 years old. He used to work on my grandfather's bread truck. Like he still work. My dad is 64 years old, still working to this day. Every day he's working. He drives a bus for a camp, so he's literally putting in like 14-hour days and just not even caring. And I haven't seen. This is the first time I saw my dad since Monday, and we live in the same house. But he just puts in so many hours,
at
and
what age is he
he
now?
always. Oh, he's 64 now, so
And
he's
still
just been
doing
working.
that.
He's just he just doesn't care. Literally, just doesn't care. Like he'll work forever, honestly. But where I really get it from is him because he told me one time, and it resonated with me like crazy. And I did a really shitty job one time. I honestly think we were like raking the leaves in the backyard. I swear to God, I was like 9, and I did like a shitty job. And he said to me, he was like, "Now I know that you did this. If I know that you did something, why would you do such a shitty job? If your name is stamped on this job, why would you do a shitty job?" And I literally think about that every single day. I wake up and that is the first thought that crosses my mind. If I do a job today, mine and I have my name stamped on it, I have to give 1000%. No excuses. If I take the job and I know I can get it done, I have to get it done with the best of my ability.
That's so badass, and like I'm letting you know right now, that's going on the TikTok. Like that's I was looking for the TikTok clip to exploit you the whole time, and we got it, baby. But no, like that is so badass because like anything you could put that into anything. Like you make a podcast, your name's on it. It's not. It better not be shitty. So like it could. That's so badass. I mean,
and it's funny because
I'm sorry, by the way. Shout out Papa
Andrisani.
because even when we did TTL, that dude is such a legend, bro. Like someone who I would have on the show, like in a heartbeat. Maybe we have to do a you and him episode.
I think that was my biggest regret that
not
while
having
we
him
were
on,
together,
right?
that we never had him on. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But the second fold of it is kind of interesting. It's now I'm gonna break the picture out. I think you already know what the picture is, but I have to show.
Oh yeah, I know who you're gonna talk about.
So I got this man here. You know who this is? Tell everyone in the back who this man is.
Yeah, if you're just listening to the audio version, he pulled out an autograph of Brian Shaw. I think you could give a better description, but he's a power lifter, like a champ. I don't want to call him a champion power lifter,
He's
but
actually like, it's funny because his literal occupation, like if you look on Wikipedia, strongman.
strong
Like how,
man. There,
how
there
the
you go.
fuck is that like how is that an
Well, that is a
occupation?
well, that is like the what the name I was looking for, but yeah,
No,
it is
yeah.
a funny ass name.
And
Like,
he's 4-time world's strongest man. He actually just became the oldest competitor to like place second in this past year. So he came in second place at 40 years old a couple weeks ago. And I started watching his videos. You know what's funny? I started watching his videos because I was looking for a new like high calorie, high protein diet. Did you hear that thunder?
yeah, the mic is better. Pick this up,
Yeah.
bro.
So like a high calorie, high protein diet that like I could just like shed, like I could work off quick, like if I lifted a lot. And
Mhm.
I came across Brian Shaw, and the first thing I came across was I ate my old strongman diet for a day, and it said 15,000 calories, and I was like, well, fuck what I was looking at. I was like, now I need to watch this. And it started off, I was just watching like his eating challenge videos and stuff like that. And then I started watching like his workout videos, and I started watching the way he interacts with like his fellow competitors and stuff, and just his mindset. Like I watched an interview, actually you might know, maybe not, but he was on Robert Oberst, which is one of his best friends. He's a strongman as well.
Uh-huh.
He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they talked about Brian Shaw, and he literally said he's like, I think he's like 7 years younger than Brian Shaw, and he was like, when I first started with this, I looked up to Brian Shaw. He was like, I studied everything he did because everything he did was calculated and measured. He didn't make a move that he didn't think about. And that really like resonated with me, because then you watch his videos and you watch the way, like, if you say one more rep, Brian Shaw is going to give you 5 more reps, and then he's going to try for a sixth and then fail. You know what I mean? Like that's just the type of guy that he is. Like if you want 100%, he's going to give you 5,000%.
Mhm.
And that's how I always like wanted to be. I always wanted to be that guy that like you could count on to either do a good job, or just, even if I don't do a good job, I gave you every ounce of everything I had. And just listening to the way that people talk about him, it's amazing. He literally does seem like one of the greatest humans on earth. And I know that sounds absolutely like a wild statement,
No, yeah, I know
but
what you mean.
like very genuine, like always thinking about stuff, like just very calculated. And I've heard that I think it was the log lift. So you know what a log lift is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are
So
insane, by
that's
the way.
not one of his strongest. That's not one of his strongest areas. So the way that he brings up the bar is, you have to like flip it up, and then you hold it here, and then you go for the, I don't want to call it a dismount because that's not really the correct term, but for right now we'll call it a dismount. You go up for the rep, and then you throw it down, then you pick it
Yeah,
up. And he didn't like the way that it felt, so he developed, like did research and completely changed an entire way to do a rep for the log lift. Like he came up with his own way to do a rep.
hmm,
And it's just like, who the fuck thinks about that? Like if he wasn't a strong man, think about that. Like if he was a contractor and he was like, I don't like the way that building looks, tears it down, builds another one. You know what I mean? Like who thinks like that? That's why it's more fascinating to me than anything that someone could just be that calculated and that motivated to just be the absolute best. And if he can't find a way to be the best, he's going to make his own way to be the best.
yeah, and I think that's an awesome lesson as well. Like you mentioned, I mean, Brian Shaw is just the example, and like I'm gonna use in my instance, like Conor McGregor, someone who like I actually look up to. It's more than just him talking shit on a stage and whatnot. It's very similar. Like when you look at mixed martial arts as a whole, like back in the day, no one was making even like 100K was a lot of money for a fight back then.
Mm-hmm.
like making 100 grand one night, and that sounds like a lot of money because it's some people's yearly salaries in one night, but yeah, at the end of the day, you're risking your life in the octagon, so it's really not that much money.
Yeah,
And I remember he got into like arguments with his parents that he used to say, because I mean, anyone's parents would be like, "You're not doing this for a living, making that
exactly.
less little bit of money." But he changed the way he said that I'm gonna get paid this much money from doing this. So it's
Crazy.
people like that that really like, you know, because we think that I think it's a great point too about Brian Shaw, because we think like we think bigger and stuff like that, but like when you're in a realm like that and you make your own rules and you this is such a great topic because he wanted to win and he couldn't win by everyone else's standards, so he made his own way to win, and like
Yeah.
that is awesome. Like same with Connor.
It really is. And the way that I think about it, and I'm not discrediting people that win in the conventional way, because you know what? You still won. You were better than everyone else that did it the conventional way, and you still won. So hats off to you too. It's those people that really stand out to you that go completely against the grain, that literally are like, you know what? Like this has been working for say 50 years. I'm going to try something completely new and I'm going to win with it. And it's not just like competitions, it's just in life. Like there are people that get born into families essentially that, like take like I'll give you a for instance, my uncle owns like a knife sharpening company, like a lucrative business, and like it's essentially his when my uncle retires,
Hmm.
and he doesn't want it. He's like, I don't let that's the easy way out, essentially, is what he's saying. Like, yeah, that's constant income and all that kind of stuff, but that's not what I want to do. So I'm going to struggle my own way so I could succeed my own way,
Yeah.
which is to me much more admirable. Still both admirable, like to the highest degree, but it just has that much more on top of it, that you risked everything that that you have, all your assets, just to succeed that way, that
Hmm.
you wanted to do it.
Yeah, and I think like when it's time to like when you're scared to like take that jump, I think that's when like it's the right thing to do.
Hmm.
Like it kind of brings me back to like like kind of what I'm dealing with now. Like I'm working for like I would say an entry level job, and like I remember when I was trying to decide like where I would go to school, like what would I end up doing? Like I could have been like the people that are teachers are going to take this out of context, but like in my opinion, if I were to become a teacher, I mean it's an awesome job. They're in the unions. If you guys live in New York, you understand like unions are
Yeah.
awesome. You're basically guaranteed job security. You could literally, you know, do anything. You're not going to get fired. I mean, take that with a grain of salt, but like it's really hard to get rid of like
It's really hard to get fired from a union job.
yeah, like cops, teachers, and like they make sick money. Like like 60, 70K starting salary, um and which is pretty solid money, and um 401k, all the benefits. You basically go to the
Yeah.
doctor for free. You have insurance. The insurance benefits that they get are nuts. You don't have to pay for anything. And I just told myself, like, I was just like, I could go and do that, but it's just not fun for me in life. Like I want to go out there and see my full potential. And like right now I'm trying in the midst of trying to figure out like what I want to do. And I feel like a lot of people could find that relatable. But like I kind of in like my mind a couple of years ago, I kind of took that jump and was just like, let's see what happens. Like I'd
Mhm.
rather do it that way than just say like, oh, I'm gonna be a teacher and then make this much money and live a happy life and lay down. I want to go after something. I want to do something.
There you go.
Because I mean, if you feel that way, anyone who's listening, like if you and again, people why I'm sure you like Brian Shaw and like why I'm a big fan of Connor, it's like if they express stuff like this, like if you see something, if you really believe it, like if you have those dreams like you mentioned before on this, like why not just go after it? Why not just pursue it? Why not just go? If you could see it, you could believe it, just work for it and it'll happen. It's the law of attraction.
Literally, I quoted a tweet the other day. I think it was like Tuesday.
And by the way, I got a fortune cookie today that mentioned what you were talking about, and
That's wild.
it was like go after what you want. It was like I don't remember what it said. I'm gonna pull it up on the next episode on an intro, but it was just like go after something that you want, like tap into something that's popular and do it your own way,
Yeah.
similar to like how
Oh,
Brian
yeah,
Shaw
yeah.
like did his own thing.
I knew
So
they had my room bugged.
yeah.
I knew they were listening to
But
me.
yeah, go. What were you saying?
But it's crazy. Like this was, we always see those stories where it's like rags to riches and stuff like that. This one was just crazy because I haven't seen one on a while, and I quoted it and I said, "This story is amazing. I need to see more of these on my timeline." Like, I just love that positive. Like, I hate all that shit, man. Like, I like actually my timeline is just basically sports, but like I
Yeah.
always see someone like some
Some
bad news
negative.
or something. Like I can't stand it. Like if you ever turn on the TV and turn the news on, just get ready to get depressed, bro, because there's literally
Yeah.
no good news. No news is good news, essentially.
Literally, bro.
Like we never hear about a cat getting like saved from a tree anymore. Like it's all about like how many people have been, perished in that terrible Miami like building collapse and stuff like that. Like it's just like such terrible things. And let me see if I could find it real quick because I haven't really been on Twitter that much lately. So it might be like up here high, but it was essentially this homeless man in, I think it was LA. I could be wrong. I think it was LA. And that someone asked him what his dream was. And he was an artist. Like he would paint on the side of the street.
Yeah.
And he said literally, he was like, to see one of my paintings in a museum one day. And not only did he get, oh, it's right here. He said to walk in a museum one day and see my painting hang on the wall. That's what he said his dream was. Homeless man, has nothing to his name. Not, hey, I want to have a mansion, cars, all these bitches. No, I want to see my painting hung up, and someone got him to an art auction. He sold a painting for $23,000. He got a painting hung up in the museum that he wanted to, and now he has his own website and he sells his paintings from the website with a painting in the museum, all in 10 days. His life changed completely like that in 10 days. He went from homeless to having an agent to meeting Oprah. Like the story is wild. I'm going to send it to you actually right now so
Yeah.
you can watch
That's
it
awesome.
later.
I actually want to tap into
Like
that.
it's literally insane. Like I watched it and at the end he's literally crying. Like, and he goes, anything is truly possible. And like I don't like cry for really anything, honestly. Like it's just something, not to sound macho or anything, because that's totally not what I'm trying to sound like. But just in anything, even in like tragedies that I've had in my life and stuff, I just don't like, it doesn't compute with me. Like I don't cry really.
Hmm.
And I felt the tears welling up a little bit on that one because it was just
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing to see. That was like, I wish that the news was filled of stories like this. Like
Yeah.
I just love seeing things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like, so the thing with the news is too, like, I agree with you 100%. Anything that they literally watching the news, you're gonna get something depressing, like, because you're not making money on the stories that you just said. They're making money on people's downfall. They're making money on the things that sells, the thing that people want to listen to, and it's all
Yep.
negative shit. And it's annoying because like we should be talking about the positive things like that. And I think that story about the man who's homeless who's selling paintings like is awesome too because bro, he didn't want to become rich from selling paintings. All he wanted was one dude to put his painting in a museum and to be acknowledged for his work, and it ended up making him money in the process. So
Crazy. It's
that
crazy.
that's what it's about. Like, do stuff that you love, start a passion project, do something, and the money, everything, it will come. The stuff is all secondary. Just do what you love. That's what life is about,
100%.
And shout out that homeless dude. Seriously, I mean,
Uh,
if you could send me that,
that's
I would
crazy.
love
I,
to
I
have that
I sent
video.
it to you already.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that
It's
out
it's
after this. But
literally it's like a minute and 30 seconds. It's just like a quick synopsis of like what like happened over that 10-day period. And
yeah,
like it just gets wilder as the video goes along. And it's just so cool to see. Like there was one part of the video where like, he's at like the art gallery or whatever, and he has like his best clothes on, and they're like not like the best clothes, but like they're his best clothes, and like it just means a lot to him. And like little things like that always get me. I don't know why, but
yeah.
it's just like the really soft side in me where I see something like an oversized coat on a homeless man. I'm just like, God damn, that's so beautiful. And I know it, I'm not, it sounds funny coming like out
No,
of
but
my,
it's real
my
shit,
voice, but
bro.
like, you know what I'm saying? I just love seeing people. I honestly feel like people with the least material wise are always the happiest. And I just love seeing things like that.
Bro, you're 100% right, bro. This is literally the reason I brought you on, bro. You're really, you're you're spewing some. You're gonna get a tear out of me. But
I hope not.
yeah, you I got a couple more questions for you. You talked about too, like with your life, how you don't really let things get to you and whatnot. And everyone's different. The thing with me is like heartbreak or like in many ways, whether it's relationships with women, God, your friends,
Mhm.
you're losing someone in your family. I use that, or like anything that's happened, you get fired, you hate your job, like any rocky road, any hardship. I kind of use that as more so like a motivator. Like I'm just like I kind of get in that mode where it's just like F you to everyone. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna, this person didn't doesn't, I'm gonna use that to motivate me. This
Yeah.
person doesn't like me, so I'm gonna go do this.
Mm-hmm.
Or this person fired me, I'm not worth their job. You kind of get in that
Yeah.
deep mindset. But what you said was more so like you don't really let things kind of get to you. So I'm curious, like, which way do you think is like a better way to like approach it? I mean, how do you use stuff like that to motivate you? Or
So really where my motivation comes from is from the feeling of being genuinely happy. So when I need motivation, I try and think of something that made me feel euphoric to the point where I was happy. And if I'm in that spot where I need motivation, eventually I'm trying to get to that spot that's making me feel euphoric. So what better fuel than to think about a feeling that made you euphoric? Why would you ever want to not feel happy? You know what I mean? Like, why would you ever want to feel another emotion? Like it sounds like corny, like, but
no,
that's
not at
literally
all,
what it is.
bro.
I pluck it from that. Like I never think of anything. First off, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't really think things in my life have ever gone bad at any aspect to the point where like I needed to use that bad memory as a motivator. So like and also because like literally nothing really gets to me since I've been a kid. Like that's just kind of like the way I've been. So even if something was bad, like I kind of forgot about it already.
See, I
So
just think you're so positive, bro. That's what I don't understand. Because like I'm talking about like every little thing I hold. I hold, and I mean it's not good, okay? Listen, this
yeah.
show is also for me to learn, okay? There's a reason
it's
why
really it's
you're
really just
here.
Matthew's therapy sessions.
Yeah,
That's all it
literally.
really
That
is.
I mean it is kind of what it is in essence, but like you I sometimes and a lot of people hold on to that, but you just let go of that shit. Like I use it to motivate me, but then sometimes it's it's always here, but you kind of just how
I I honestly wish that I could show you exactly like what I'm thinking because if something bad happens to me, it's so weird, but like I always think about it like I'll again, once again, not to get intergalactic, but I'll take a step back and think of the grand scheme of things where I'm like, this minor inconvenience, is it really worth my day being ruined? Even if it's like an actual inconvenience. Like the other day, I'm not gonna lie, like I had to spring into action at work because like three people called out. So my job became three times harder for the day. And at first I was pissed because I was like, damn, like, and you know what? Like they didn't give me reasons for why they called out. Maybe something genuinely happened where they're feeling terrible at that time, where I'm like, these son of a bitches, they're not at work. Like,
but
I just think about it.
your first instinct is to like blame
Yeah.
someone.
And I was just like, you know what? Like maybe something is going on. I'm always trying to think of the glass half full for each side. So like I know that maybe something terrible happened. Doesn't sound like a glass half full type of thing on their side, but I'm not trying to think about it as they just were lazy and wanted to sit on their couch and eat potato chips all day. It's no, they had to get up and physically do something where they couldn't be at their obligation of work. So something really must have happened. You know what I mean? So I always try to think about it like that, where I'm like, you know what? Like, even though it sucks that I have to do this job, something is worse that made this worse for me. You know what I mean? So I try and think about it like that, where it's like, there's always something that could be worse, and it's not worth my day being entirely ruined because there's so many positive things in a day, bro. You could literally just wake up and sit in your house all day, and your day is full of positives. You're, like I said, not to get corny, but you wake up, tomorrow's not guaranteed. So you wake up, that's a positive. You you have a drink of water, that's positive. There are people all over the world that don't get a sip of water. You eat cereal, there are people that don't eat for days on end. You could just the little things that we just 100% take for granted, like literally things that we do every single day, the smallest things. Like I turned my TV on when I came here. There are people who don't know what a TV is, like it's things like that where I have all these materialistic things that don't even really make me happy, but they do make me happy thinking about it because I'm so fortunate to even have it. So that's really where I get it from, where it's like I'm just so fortunate, even in like a dark time. I'm still more fortunate than so many other people in the world that it doesn't even make sense for me to get down about this.
Yeah, and you have 110% the right mindset. Like that's how people should be. And you always, and again, it's like inspiring to me, honestly, how you always you stay positive in some way or another, because you always look at it like it could be worse, it could be worse, and like I
Because
really
you know
wish.
what, it really could be.
No, you're right.
You know, yeah.
You're 100% right. And like I really wish that like I'm gonna start to try even to look at things more likely. I'm more like that. And kind of a question to add on to what you're talking about. I think like in social media, it's kind of like it kind of just shows all the stuff that you're. So what you're talking about is staying positive, and I feel like a lot of people now will look at like the rappers and the influencers and all these people, all the glory, all the success, and they'll be like, why don't I have that? And they'll kind of forget what you're talking about and say like, well, why not look at like what I already have? So like, what do you think
And
about that?
it's not only that, the way I'll be straight. I strongly dislike people that say, "Well, why not me?"
Hmm.
It can be you. Fucking make it for yourself. Like those people already made it. You know how many trials and tribulations those people through to get to that point? You know what? Like, don't say, oh, that person is trash. Like, they don't deserve it. I deserve it. No, they work their fucking ass off to get to where they are. It doesn't matter what, you know what? Like a CEO of a company that sits behind a desk and essentially looks like they don't do anything. You know what? They fucking worked from the bottom to get up there. You know what I mean? It's for anything. I hate those people that I shouldn't say hate. I dislike those people that are always, why me? Why can't I do this? Work, literally work for it. If you want it that bad, you'll just shut up and do what you have to do to get to that point.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't see. It's like I see this rapper or someone or influencer who's talking all this like shit because they made it, but like we look at them at their highest. You
Talk
don't
your
look
shit, bro.
no
You
who was
fucking
with
made
them
it. Talk your
exactly.
shit.
Who was with anyone when they were really like, you know, when they were grinding it out.
When they were
So,
nothing, yeah.
but I
That's
do
why
think
I love see like to play into what you've been saying throughout
mhm,
the episode. Like McGregor's wife has stuck with him for everything. Like that was his lady
mhm.
from when he was nothing to now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a ride or die right there.
Yeah.
You know, like it's they well, obviously we don't know like the details of their entire relationship, but like we've seen pictures of them from Ireland when he was like what 20 years old fighting in like outside cage
Even
matches
before
together and stuff.
plumbing, yeah. So,
Yeah. Like I people like I love seeing things like that. People that really have those true ride or dies. Like I love that.
yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
I agree with you. And I just think social media as a whole, like from that perspective, and also like what we were talking about a little bit earlier, like people love to look at
Love
like,
to hate, bro.
yeah, and
Love to
love,
hate.
and also love to like look at yourself and be blessed for what you have
Exactly.
and work for it if you want more, you know? So,
There's always someone less fortunate, more or less fortunate than you in that case. Like, you know, if you really are less fortunate, you know, and you know, for me to say that, it sounds like coming from like a place of like get off your high horse. You know what I'm saying? Because like, you know, I still live at home. You know what I mean? Like I have a roof over my head that I don't pay for. You know what I mean? So like people could be, oh, it's easier for you to say that. And you know what? Like you have every right to say for me that it's easy to say that, but
mhm.
I know for a fact that if I was out there right now, like I would work my ass off to get like if I left right now with only the money in my pocket, I would make sure that at some point in my life I got back to a point where I was sitting in a room like this, talking on a computer like this to you because I would never want anything less. You know what I'm saying? I would always want more.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of start from the bottom essentially in some places, but like I said, it some people could say it's easy for me to talk from that kind of, you know, disposition, but
The
it's
thing
really
is,
just a mindset you have to have though. I can't say, oh, you know, like there are people that are less fortunate than me, so let me, you know, 100 just be gracious for what I have and never strive for anything less. Then you're just doing yourself a, you know, a disservice. You know, you have to respect those people that have less than you and maybe try and help them in any way possible, whether that be financially, whether that be advice, mentally, emotionally, whatever. You be there for those people that you know that are less fortunate than you. And then you strive for better, you know?
yeah, and I definitely think there are people that obviously are born into worse situations,
Of
but
course.
if they look at it from your mindset, which like is positive thinking, and it's like, yeah, I wasn't dealt this hand of cards, but I can get out of this, then you
Mm-hmm.
will be able to get out of it. Stop dwelling on what other people have. Just worry about you. You're not
Yeah.
them, they're not you. You know,
Exactly.
95%. I mean, I don't know the stat, but how many people are trust fund kids? You know, there's not a lot of them. So it's like you're not them. I mean, there probably are a lot of trust fund kids, but you know what I'm saying? Like the majority of people are dealing with something else. If it's not the death of a family member, if it's not being dead broke, like they're dealing with everyone's life is crazy. So
Everyone deals with something. Yeah,
get out of, I mean, it's easier said than done, obviously. Like
of
again,
course.
I'm not saying people's situations aren't worse than others, but like take what you have, realize it, and try to get out of it. Don't look at others and be like, I wish it was like this.
You could make it like that.
Yeah, exactly. Look
You
at it
know,
like you.
it goes back to that homeless man with the paintings. Like he probably had a similar mindset to the point where he wasn't like, why me, why me? He was doing what he loved, and then he turned what he loved into something where he makes money, and now I don't know if he's not homeless or not. Like I don't know. I have to follow up on that story, but he's better off now than he was before that story.
He
That's
accomplished
what
his
I'm trying to say.
dream at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
exactly.
So, I mean, Peter, great episode. Like, I don't even know how long we went. I can't wait to check the time on it. Um, I mean, but I had one more question before we wrapped up, really,
Oh
because
yes,
if I brought up everything, bro, I mean, I could talk about
we'd
for
be here for days.
hours. Yeah, I mean, we could still keep it going, but my last point that I really wanted to wrap up on was like, and it's kind of like a generic question, but like you look at this world, we talked a lot about like social media and like the way people perceive life, and that's kind of like the topic of the show, really, like perception. And like you looking at the world, what's one thing that like, and it's not like an ego question, it's more so just like I would appreciate your advice, like, but what's one thing you look at the world and you're like, I wish it was done better? Like what's advice that you would give? What's something that we should change? What's something that you see in people that shouldn't be the same? Because I look at you as someone who could really like change the mentality of like anyone listening to this, like literally. So like, what's one thing? Because you look at stuff from such a positive thing. That's why I said I don't want you to look at it as like an ego thing, but I want you to
Mhm.
look at it as more of like um, what's one thing do you think that could be looked at more positively or fixed?
Well, if we're going into like broad topics, there's one thing that always really bothers me, and it could be taken as even more, and it goes for everything, but it's just this one thing, and it's it's people, it's veterans that come home from war and are homeless. That bothers the absolute shit out of me, and it's the same thing any homeless person. It really bothers me, and I feel like there's just so much more than everyone could do. Like, and you have no right. I have no right to say that because like we have our right to just mind our own business. You know what I mean? Like we just walk past someone, oh, they're probably using it to get liquor or something, or
Mm,
and maybe they are. But there's other ways, like you don't need materialistic things. Sometimes don't help. Money doesn't help sometimes. Maybe a person to talk to, helps. And another thing, I keep mentioning my dad, but one thing that I remember he told me was that he used to work in downtown Chinatown, and there's a lot of homeless people down there in New York. And he said there people would come up to him and ask for money or help all the time. And he'd be like, listen, do you want money or do you want food? And my dad would literally, people he doesn't even know, like he would literally sit and like eat lunch with someone that he doesn't know. You know what I mean? Like he would buy them food, and he said he can't remember how many times he did that. Like that's crazy all in itself. That just bothers me. Like I feel like maybe as a broader topic, I feel like us as a society can just do so much more for people that are less fortunate than us. And we just kind of overlook it because our government officials just kind of don't do it either. So I feel like a lot of people have that mentality where it's like, well, if the government doesn't do it, then I shouldn't worry about it.
mm-hmm.
And that bothers me a lot. And I'm a sucker. I walk down the street in New York City and like I run out of money by the time I come back because every person, especially people with the dogs, bro, gets me every time.
That
Like
does,
gets
yeah.
me every time. Bro. I'm a sucker. I literally give them my entire wallet. I'm just like, just make sure the dog is okay. But but I really think that now I don't know if that's exactly answering your question, if you want to like refine it to something, if I didn't answer it, but really just things like that where like people that are less fortunate, I feel like are just constantly overlooked and kind of treated as scum when we're all individual. There's no three-fifths compromise here anymore. This is not that era. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just talking about in terms of everything. Like we are all the same. Like you look at my bones, yours, a homeless person's, the president of the United States, all the same. We are all the same people.
Yeah, and you did answer like that. I thought that was a great answer actually, and you're 100% right. We do need to be paying more attention to those things. Um, my original question though was more so like mindset wise. What's something in people that like they're like you look at them, that's not like it's not a negative thing, but you look at them, you're like, I wish they thought. I don't want to say more like you, but like what's something that you wish everyone thought like what in terms of like growing and stuff like that.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Literally, things that have a minuscule effect on your day should not dictate the way that your day turns out. Like that is one thing. Like there are people very close to me that literally let the smallest thing ruin their day, and it drives me absolutely crazy because I'm like, there's just so much, like so much more that you could be worried about than like these minuscule things, you know. And that really bugs me, not as like, oh god, like oh, that drives me crazy, just like bugs me because I feel bad for those people, because like you could just enjoy so much more if you just like literally sweat the small things. Like the other day, like you've seen my truck before. Like I love that thing, you know what I mean? I always try and keep it pristine. There was a scratch on it, and I'm like, fuck, like that sucks because it's right in the place where everyone could see it. I can't get it.
Brand new, yeah.
But you know what? I was like, you know what? It's really not that big of a deal because while I'm driving it, no one can see it. So, you know, it's just little things like that that bug me about other people, where just small things, and I dislike those people that will literally like brag about something that happened in their life that makes it shitty,
Hmm. You mean
and
like
they
dwell
say
on it
fuck
almost?
my life, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't believe this happened to me. And it actually, it's funny on like a broader scale. I was watching Jersey Shore Family Vacation last week, and and Angelina was,
What a great way to talk about
yeah, right, really upstanding citizens, like the model of society. By the way, it's like my favorite show, but
yeah, my mother's too, right? You
oh,
guys
that's amazing. I can't wait next time I see your mother, I'm gonna talk to her about it. But like something was going on in Angelina's life where like she like fucked up and like cheated on her husband. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't watch this week's episode, so don't spoil it for me. But um she like cheated apparently on her husband, and like it was caught on camera, and then they were going to show her, and she goes, literally, I can't believe this is happening to me right now. Fuck my life. And I'm like, you did that to yourself. Like like
yeah.
like no one else did that. Like don't pity yourself. Like that's maybe one, maybe if you want like just one answer, like a one word answer, is like self-pity would
Yeah.
be like, I don't like people that self-pity themselves.
And that do you think like that whole
I
that dwelling
yeah.
over like the small stuff in life like that could be like such a downside? Like have you seen people before like just like what's a downside of that? Do people just like focus on that and they don't do anything and then they just let that affect their whole livelihood? Like, is that something that could happen as a
Yeah,
result of that?
without mentioning any names, the person, the people that I know that happens to, it literally causes like a downward spiral. Like it will just snowball itself to where it's like
Yeah.
one thing where like shit, like I didn't put detergent in the laundry or something like that. Like it just snowballs to the fact that to no end, where like it just gets bigger and bigger,
More
and then
negatives.
you manifest it in yourself, really, because like when you're angry and when you're slamming things and like, you know, like you just think, oh my god, like I can't believe this is happening to me, like you lose focus on the little things that you do, and then you just get more and more angry as the day goes on, or like as your
Mhm.
life goes on. And that's really like what I'm trying to say, is just like self-pity and the small things, just sweat the small things and just try not to self-pity yourself. Like every now and then, I mean, even I sometimes will be like, fuck, like why did that happen to me? Like what was it the other day? It was on July 4th when I got hit in the hand with the pitch by that guy
Mhm.
in my men's league all-star game.
Oh, I
And
saw
then
that.
like I was like in the bathroom of, like, I didn't go to the hospital, by the way, until the day after. That's not smart on my part. But um the I went to a barbecue later on that day, and I had a couple drinks, and I went to the bathroom, and I like slipped, and like I put like my hand out, and I like crushed my hand that just got hit and was probably like semi fractured, and it just hurt so bad. And I was like, fuck. I was like, why did I do that? Like, fuck me. Like, I can't believe I did that. And I got like so pissed. And then I was like, all right, like you idiot, like that was your fault. Like you, like who you blaming? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just let it go, and then I just started drinking more Bud Light seltzers, and it was fine after
There you
that.
go, everyone. That's the cure to that. No, but I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like when you get mad because you lost a sock, then you're gonna let that affect your whole day, and then it just affects your whole week, and then it leads into
And it
another.
just
So don't let it
manifests itself.
snowball.
Yeah.
I agree in a negative way too. Um, and one more thing I wanted to add before I wrapped up, you mentioned like helping the homeless people out and like helping out veterans that don't get enough like love necessarily like after the war. Um, is that something that like if you're ever at a point in your life where you become so successful that you'd want to like help out a lot of people in need like that in terms of like financially and like any way possible?
Yeah, I already have an idea for that. I've already come up with like something that I want to do at some point, and I've even talked to like my significant other about it, and she's on board with it too.
Mm-hmm.
That like around like Christmas time every year, like I would like to make like care packages of like maybe like a blanket, a toothbrush, like the essentials, like things that you need, like slippers, stuff to keep people like out of that's really what gets me. Like when people are homeless in the cold, that gets me every time. Like that's just so
Mm-hmm.
sad. And like the essentials, maybe some granola bars, like just like things like that, like a care package and like a big Ziploc bag, and just go around the city and just hand it out to like homeless people as like a almost like a Christmas present to that person, because who knows, maybe they don't get Christmas presents, like, and that will make them feel that much better. Just little things like that, which what I could do now, maybe if I ever get financially better, maybe I could do more. It's you're only what you could do with your financial limitations.
That's so awesome though. Are you looking to do like you're 100% doing that around Christmas time this year? Like
I was actually planning to do it Christmas of 2020, but then with COVID and everything, I just didn't want to take any chances. And it's looking like it could be on track for this year 100%, with everything being a little bit better now.
that's so awesome too, because like like you never even like talk about that really, and like a lot of people would love to use that to like make themselves look better, but you do that. You're such a natural. If you guys didn't take anything from this episode, and like you're such a naturally nice, genuine person, bro, and that's like literally why I'm so blessed really to have you like share all that stuff on here, bro. Like, oh, you're just a genuine dude.
Oh, you.
You're gonna, you're gonna. I mean, bro, this is a killer episode already. So like, oh
I
man,
hope I
I
got
mean,
your
Peter Andrew.
podcast off to a hot start.
What happened?
I said I hope it got your podcast off to a hot start.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best start I could have imagined, honestly. But I mean, Peter Andrisani, everyone. I mean, like everyone, please give it up. This dude is an inspiration. I literally called you a inspiring brother of mine in the thing. I can't wait to hear
Man,
the
I
intro.
literally can't. I can't wait until this episode is ready, and I can't wait to hear this like monologue.
Yeah, I've been referencing it the whole time, but but like Peter Andrisani, everyone, like an awesome, genuine dude. Like I actually appreciate you for coming on. Like the first episode of Rolling with the Punches, like sharing all your literally like sharing how to roll with the punches and like awesome mindset. Like I really hope people really stay to the end, because like if you did, I guarantee you left here learning way more than just like one thing. Like this is real education. This is like this is I mean
I ain't
someone that
teaching
not
no y equals mx plus b or something
yeah,
like
none of that horse shit, like none of that. But this is, I mean, Peter, thank you so much for sharing like everything, bro. It was honestly like I hate saying an honor, but like it was, bro. Like you're
That's an honor to be on, man. It's an honor to share the microphones again with you. And I wish that we honestly had a plan to do it in person, but then, just equipment problems and stuff. But hopefully the next time I come on, we'll be able to do it in person.
yeah, we will, bro. I'm gonna get a hammer as this evolves, and we'll do something way better. You're
Hell
100%
yeah.
gonna be a recurring guest. You have no choice at this point after the
I,
show.
I I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly.
I'm writing up a 360 deal right now as we speak, so I could sign you a lifetime contract, bro, to rolling
Let's
with the
do it. That's
punches.
fine. An 8,000 episode contract.
Yeah. But Peter Andrisani, everyone, I really hope everyone enjoyed. That was episode 1. I mean, I don't know where to really end this because it was just so great. You're gonna have tough competition. I haven't even really announced it, but if you stayed this late, next week we're gonna do UFC commentator, also a good friend of Peter's, Brendan Fitzgerald. He
That's
will
my
be coming
man.
on. Yeah,
Love
I don't
that
know
dude.
how.
Love
I don't
that
know.
dude.
I don't know how you're gonna be able to compete with that dude, but I mean, how he's gonna be able to compete with you, honestly.
No,
Like,
are you kidding me? He's gonna get on and just blow everyone's mind. They're gonna be like, who the fuck was that guy that was on episode 1?
yeah, dude, that dude just loves to talk, but literally, he doesn't wear a job,
He's
bro.
such a funny time too. Like he'll say some he has such a dry sense of humor that like he'll say something and you'll really have to like pause the episode and think about it and be like, oh shit, that was really funny.
Yeah,
Like
and but
he's such a good time.
and it's gonna be awesome. But and we're gonna have to do like a trio episode of motivation with us three again.
Listen, the world is not ready for that kind of mind power.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for that, bro. I already got ideas rolling. Now we got to do a trio episode of motivation, bro. But thank you everyone for listening. Please, I really hope you enjoyed the first episode. If you did, please leave some feedback. I would love to hear it. And more importantly, go show love to Peter's new forget my page. Go show love to PTV. I'm gonna let you plug because you used to always let me plug back in the good old days. But
I'm rusty.
yeah, I need you to give your Instagram, Twitter, both handles, your where they can find you on a podcast, where they can find you on YouTube. So go drop that real quick.
I'm pulling up the link tree right now as we speak so I could look and see all the
Yeah,
But-
I'll keep it going.
No, I'm good. I think I remember all of them. Actually, it's on Instagram at PTV Sports Network, Twitter at PTV Sports Posts because PTV Sports was taken. And everything, PTV Sports like 1 through 35 was taken. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Let me come up with something else. You can find me on YouTube, PTV Sports Network as well. You can find me Apple, Spotify, Pandora, anything really. At PTV Sports Podcast is different. PTV Sports Podcast, not PTV Sports Network. And that's I have a Discord now, honestly, too, and I have no fucking idea how to use it.
Yeah, if
So
anyone knows how to moderate, I don't even know how to do that.
I
But
was gonna say, so if anyone is interested, I already have 3 members, and I couldn't even tell you how. But if anyone, but if anyone wants to join the Discord, it is at PTV Sports Network / like fucking 700
Discord.
backslashes, whatever.
I'm gonna link everything in the bio too, and like everything we do, I'll link it. For people watching on YouTube, you'll be able to check the links out in the bio. It'll be the first thing I put.
And then I think that's it. And then I have a regular TikTok, but that's for me. I don't know. My TikToks are pretty good. I just had one that had over 10,000 views, and I was like, yo, this is what fame feels like. I was like,
Wait,
let's
you
go.
made one for PTV, or it was just
No,
like,
I just my own.
hold on, show this to me real quick.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna love this.
Show it to me on camera, and the people listening at home, you're not gonna be able to watch it.
Oh,
So
hold
go
up.
to YouTube.
This is the TikTok that went
If it's
over.
cringy, I'm gonna let you know.
No, it's not. It's not even of me, so don't worry. It's
Oh, to
what is a
repost.
what is a sports moment that haunts your dreams? And I said, I'll start. And I don't know if you could see it, but it's the Jets when Kembrell Tompkins
Oh, he dropped the pass.
dropped the pass at the end of 2015.
That's a great take. Yeah, 10,000 views on that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I literally think about that every single day. Like
Bro,
at least once a day. I'll drop something and I'll be like, Kembrell Tompkins.
I literally cried when that happened, bro. By the way, anyone who's listening, Peter was I completely forgot to bring this up. You talked about how the first time you watched the Jets in like 06, they lost and you became a fan. The reason I'm a Jet fan today, I'm a Yankee fan because my dad grew up in the Bronx. So like
The worst game of all time.
yeah, literally. I'm a Yankee fan because my dad grew up in the Bronx, but the Jets, like I wasn't big into football until like later on, similar to Peter. But I remember he used to come over every day and every Sunday and watch the Jets games, and they went like fucking 2-14 this year. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, they were 2-14 this year, actually.
No, I meant the year that I'm talking about.
They actually weren't bad. I think they were like 7-9 that year.
I don't know. It was miserable though. They played like the Raiders. It was like 6 interceptions, and like this is what year was this, bro?
No,
like
dude, I
2012.
remember this. It was 2012. Greg McElroy.
Greg McElroy. That's who was
playing
quarterback.
And they were playing the Arizona Cardinals, and the Jets were losing 6-0 from like the entire duration of the game. And then Jeff Cumberland caught a fucking touchdown with like 2 minutes left, and that's how the Jets won.
Yeah, I just remember like watching this miserable team.
7-6.
Well, he used to come over and they always used to lose. So I was like, when they win, this is gonna be so fun. And then I was like, all right, I gotta be a Jet fan at this point. Like,
Yeah,
and I've
after
been a
that
diehard ever
scintillating
since.
1-point win.
Yeah, so I could blame you for. We're talking about stress, anxiety, and everything
your
on the
hardships.
show. Yeah, it's all your fault, honestly. But please, everyone, if you guys want to listen to like dope sports content, like seriously, go to check out all his links, and we'll be in the bio and the ones that he mentioned.
And I'm totally open for people to come on too and talk sports too, because I'm
That's
tired of
another
speaking
thing.
alone. So I would love to have some people, some different insight. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I gotta make another guest appearance on that thing. Like, I really gotta hop back
Well,
on.
we got to say that that's the 10K special right there.
Oh yes. But Thank you, Peter, for real, for coming on. It was awesome, bro. I really enjoyed it. And
I enjoyed it. The pleasure is all mine, and I wish that we could do this for 6 more hours.
yes, sir. And if you guys are still listening, please drop a comment and let me know what you thought of the episode. And please check out Peter on everything. And until next time, I will see you guys next week with Brendan Fitzgerald. Thank you.